You know that feeling you've probably been having about AI? That little bit of anxiety? That sense that the world is just changing way too fast? Well, you're not wrong. But here's the thing. It's not new. Not at all. It's actually a pattern, a cycle of disruption and reinvention that's been happening for centuries. And if we can understand that pattern, that's the key to figuring out what's coming next.
I mean, it's the question on everyone's mind, isn't it? As these machines get smarter and smarter, are our skills, our jobs, even our creativity becoming obsolete? It feels so personal this time around, right? Because for the first time ever, technology isn't just replacing what our hands can do, it's coming for what our minds can do.
So yeah, this mix of wow, that's amazing, and uh-oh, what does this mean for me? That really sums up the whole AI question we're all dealing with. But to find the answer, we can't just look ahead. We've actually got to look back.
Because if you really want to understand what's coming, you have to see that this feeling of massive change, it's not new at all. It's part of this long, surprisingly predictable cycle. A cycle of innovation and replacement that goes all the way from the printing press to the steam engine, the internet, and yep, right up to AI today.
And when you look at that history, one core idea just jumps out. It explains everything, a clear, undeniable pattern of replacement.
Okay, so the fancy term for it is technological obsolescence. Basically, it's just the process where the old stuff gets pushed out by the new stuff. And look, it might sound all academic, but you've totally lived through this. Just think about all the CDs or floppy disks or old flip phones probably sitting in a drawer somewhere right now.
Now, our story really kicks off way back in the 15th century. It starts with the one invention that completely blew up the old world of knowledge, Gutenberg's printing press. Before this thing came along, information was basically locked away. It was controlled by the very few people who could afford books that were copied by hand. The printing press, well, it changed that forever.
And you can't overstate how huge this was. On one hand, you had scribes. They were slow, super expensive, and their work was totally exclusive. And then, almost overnight, they were replaced by the printing press, which was fast, cheap, and standardized. Suddenly, knowledge was for everyone. The scribe didn't just get a new tool. Their entire job, gone. And that sparked revolutions that literally reshaped the entire world.
Okay, let's fast forward a few hundred years to the Industrial Revolution. Guess what? The exact same pattern repeats. This time, we replace the biological limits of a horse with the raw mechanical power of the steam engine. And just like that, industry and transportation were changed forever.
And look, this isn't just some ancient history lesson. So many of us lived through this exact same thing. Remember going from owning a big collection of CDs and DVDs to suddenly having access to a basically infinite library in the cloud? We swapped physical ownership for total convenience.
Okay, so we've seen the what, this pattern of replacement that just keeps happening over and over. But why does it happen? What are the sort of unwritten rules that are driving this constant disruption?
Right? This relentless cycle isn't some kind of magic. It's actually driven by a few really simple but incredibly powerful forces.
So a new technology wins out when it's just way, way better in 4 key areas. It has to be faster. It has to be a lot cheaper. It needs to be much more convenient. And it has to be able to scale up to a massive audience. Just think about it for a second. The printing press, the steam engine, the internet, they all nailed these 4 things. And that's exactly why they didn't just make small improvements. They completely replaced what came before.
Which, of course, brings us right back to today. So now, let's take this historical playbook and use it to look at the biggest disruption of our lifetime. AI.
But this is where the pattern takes a wild turn. See, the printing press replaced the human hand. The internet replaced physical stuff like CDs and mail. But AI? It isn't just replacing boring, repetitive tasks. Its target is something completely different. It's aiming for the automation of thought itself.
And that, right there, is the fundamental shift. For centuries, technology was all about automating our muscles, making us stronger, faster. AI is the first technology ever designed to automate the mind, to do the thinking, the creating. And that, well, that changes absolutely everything. So, where does that leave us? This isn't really a story about technology anymore. It's about how we respond to it. Because what history shows us, time and time again, is that when a disruption this big hits, we all face a pretty fundamental choice. And really, there are 2 paths forward. Path 1 is, well, extinction. Just clinging to the old ways of doing things, resisting change, and watching your skills become irrelevant. The other path? Adaptation. And this is more than just learning to code. It's a whole mindset of lifelong learning. It looks like doctors using AI to spot diseases earlier, or artists using AI to dream up totally new kinds of art.
It's about all of us being able to hand off the boring stuff so we can focus on strategy, on creativity, and on connecting with other people.
You know, every single one of these disruptions is like a two-sided coin. On one side, you've got replacement, but on the other, you've got opportunity. The challenge, both back then and right now, is always about finding that balance.
So we've seen the pattern, right? From Gutenberg's printing press all the way to today's generative AI. It's this relentless, predictable cycle of something becoming obsolete and a new opportunity appearing. The only question left, really, is for you. Now that you see how the game is played, what role are you going to play?